Hey guys and girls and Lightning fans all over the world. Welcome to another edition of Bolts Breakdown. Jay Recher here with you. Brian Burns, he's out of Indian Rocks Beach with, I believe, his parents. So he'll be joining us here in a second. As always, we want to hear from you on Bolts Breakdown, where you're watching from. And yeah, what do you think about last night's game? Nice win for the Tampa Bay Lightning over the Columbus Blue Jackets. They're right back at it tonight against the Flyers up in Philadelphia. So we'll talk about that here in a second. Let's bring in Brian Burns. You got to love the event. There's Bolts Breakdown. There's the sign. There he is. Look at this guy with the water. Joining the show, Brian Burns, writer for TampaBayLightning.com. What's up, Burns?
Hey, what's going on, man?
Man, what's a beautiful day out there. Tell everybody where you're at.
Yeah, I'm out here at Indian Rocks Beach, out on a canal that leads to the intercoastal waterway over this way, and got my parents in town. Aunt and uncle were in town, so just came over, spending the day with them until we get ready for the game tonight.
That's awesome. And you speak of the game tonight. Before we get into tonight's game against the Flyers, let's look back to last night's game, Burns, against the Columbus Blue Jackets. It's not important about the shot total. It's important about the goal total. And you look at Nikita Kucherov and the job that he did last night. I think, man, if you want to talk about the best players in the league, I mean, what a performance by Kuch to start the game last night.
Yeah, and I think that shot total, a lot of that is, yeah, I know they were outshot in the first period, but they were getting pretty quality chances. And then when you get up, 5-0 like they were early in the third period, you're going to tend to sit back a little bit. So I think that's why you see that third period, the shot disparity there in favor of Columbus. But Nikita Kucherov, what more needs to be said about this guy? And I know a lot of the players listened to the interviews after the game, talked about how they felt like the first period they weren't really that good. The Lightning weren't. Columbus had a really good start to that game and was playing kind of like the desperate team that they are, trying to get into a playoff position. And you have Kucherov make two unbelievable plays and just like the blink of an eye, and Columbus is down 2-0, and that's got to be so demoralizing for a team when you feel like you played a pretty good period, you make two mistakes, and both of those pucks end up in the back of your net, and a lot of that is because Nikita Kucherov is just such an unreal talent and can make you pay for those mistakes. So I think that was the big thing for me from that game. I thought Columbus played pretty well, but I think the way that the Lightning were able to capitalize on those couple of opportunities that they got really demoralized Columbus. Then they get the power play goal on the 5-on-3 at the end of the period. You get two more from Braden Point at the beginning of the third, and you could just really tell there was some Columbus bench after that.
Good stuff there from Burns. I know we're going a little bit in and out there, brother, but definitely heard what you said about Kucherov. Shout out to Pat Coffey, watching from Buffalo. And to everybody else, as always, we want to hear from you on Bolts Breakdown. Where are you watching from? And let us know who's going to score the first goal. A lot of people last night thought it was going to be Braden Point, but it ended up being Nikita Kucherov. He gets those two. Really good to see Stammer get on the board there, like you mentioned, and also Braden Point with those two goals. A lot of people talking, Burnsy, and a lot of people asking about Victor Hedman. Any injury update on him? Have you heard any more? He left the game last night and didn't return.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything from him, and I don't suspect we'll probably hear anything until right around game time. The Lightning are playing the second half of a back-to-back tonight, so they usually don't have that morning skate in Philadelphia on those days. So we'll probably hear from Cooper about an hour and a half before game time, and really won't even know until we see warm-ups and see if Hedman's out there. But it looked like it happened in the first period, about midway through. He was kind of chasing the puck down behind the net. And I couldn't tell if he lost an edge or if he was pushed, but he fell down kind of awkwardly and his legs went into the back wall. He had some speed and he went into the wall pretty hard. And when it happened, I was pretty concerned. And then he got right back up and seemed to be okay, so I didn't think too much of it. And then he finished out the rest of that period, so you were thinking everything was fine. And then he didn't come out for the second, so obviously there was some concerns there from that. Listening to Coop on the broadcast last night, it doesn't seem like it's going to be anything long term. Probably just a precautionary measure. I would say he probably doesn't play tonight. You already have the defenseman sitting out, the rotating defenseman Strawman set out last night, so I would imagine he'll go back in. The other 6 will be ready to go. Hedman will probably just sit this one out just for precautionary reasons, and then I think more than likely, Thursday would be a good date to target for him possibly returning.
Shout out to Brittany Lutz watching from Fort Porson, Colorado. Hi, Joe D'Angelo. Always appreciate you watching. Brad Barrick in Tyler Johnson's neck of the wood, Spokane, Washington. Lisa Hartley with a great question, like always. Those birds in the background, they're Lightning fans as well. So you think Domingue gets the start tonight in Philly against the Flyers?
Yeah, I mean, these are the situations that Louis Domingue was brought in for. No sense in overtaxing Vasilevsky at this point in the season, even though he's been on an incredible run. But, I mean, an incredible run for both Lightning goaltenders right now. You really, you got a good selection, either one you go with. You got Vasilevsky, who had the shutout streak that unfortunately ended at the end of the last night's game. I thought we were going to see the Lightning put up 3 straight shutouts for the first time in franchise history. We came a minute and 45 away from that one. But an incredible run for Andrei Vasilevsky. It was the 3rd longest shutout streak for a Lightning goaltender, and actually team-wise, it was the longest shutout streak for the team. And then Louis Domingue, he's won 10 straight games, and that goes all the way back to when he filled in for Andrei Vasilevsky when he missed that month with the fractured left foot, and he's just been continuing to pile up the wins, and the Lightning have a lot of confidence in Louis Domingue, and he's been really good this year at really closing games out. He's been strong throughout the game, but it's really been at the end of games when the Lightning have a lead. It's the 3rd period, and you need that save to preserve the victory. He's been really good at that this year, and we'll look for that again tonight.
Big hello to Aaron Novakovic from Sarasota and Raul Springer. Go Zappy Boys from the Bahamas. As always, we want to hear from you. Where are you guys watching Bolts Breakdown from? Put it there on the screen. Also, share this on your Facebook. Share it. We're trying to spread the word, Be the Thunder, from all over the world. We always appreciate you guys tuning in to Bolts Breakdown. And no matter where we're at, whether we're in London or Paris or on the beach, like Brian Burns, we'll do our best to bring you Bolts Breakdown. Brian Burns, beat writer, TampaBayLightning.com, Recher 95.3 WDAE. Burnsy, let's look to tonight's game. What are your 3 keys to victory for the Bolts tonight as they travel up to Philly to take on the Philadelphia Flyers?
Yeah, I mean, this is the 3rd time the Lightning have played Philly this year. If you remember both games, the Lightning have built big leads in each of those games, and then they've kind of faltered in the 3rd period and get lead, and they've had to win both of these games in overtime. Both games have been 6-5 results in overtime for the Lightning. So for me, the number one key is if you get a big lead, put your foot on them. Don't let off the gas. Don't let these guys get back into it. The Lightning held a 4-goal lead last time they were up in Philly. They were up 5-1 with 10 minutes left. They gave up 4 goals and had to win it in overtime on an Anthony Cirelli goal. And then again at Amalie Arena, they were up 5-2 going into the 3rd period, and Philly scored 3 consecutive goals to get that game into overtime. So, don't think if you get a 2-3 goal lead on these guys that the game's over. You got to keep your foot on the gas and see it all the way through, especially in the 3rd period. Which leads me to another key, and I mentioned this before, but Louis Domingue, he's really been good this year about preserving those leads into the 3rd period. So I think it's imperative for the Lightning to get a lead, take it into the 3rd period, and then just let Louis Domingue go to work. Let him do his thing back there and continue making those big saves and preserving that lead and seeing the victory all the way through. And then number 3 key for me is better penalty killing against this Flyers team from the Lightning. We've seen the penalty kill. It's number 2 in the league right now. They've been outstanding of late. I feel like over the last month and a half or so, they've just taken it to another level, even better than they've been throughout through the first half of the regular season. But in each of these games against Philadelphia, they've given up 2 power play goals against. So this will be a good challenge for that penalty kill. We know this is a really good special teams unit for the Lightning, and this will be a good challenge to see how far they've grown since those last 2 games against Philadelphia.
Without a doubt. And if you guys have any questions or comments, feel free to put them there at the bottom of the screen, like Alex Parker. Love how our puck movement is going. Cooch has been all over the ice. My one guy to watch for Philly tonight is Travis Konecny. Not a guy that many of the common hockey fans know, but this guy's got 3 goals in his last 5 games. I think he's got 18 on the year. I think he's one of those under-the-radar kind of depth scoring. We talk about that with the Lightning. And needing more guys to be able to contribute instead of the top guys. And the Claude Giroux and the Wayne Simmons and the Vortex of the world, but Travis Konechny is a guy that always likes to kind of sneak in there and score big goals for the team. So keep an eye on him tonight. Yoko Taylor wants to know Callie will be in tonight. We still don't know. We should know a little bit as we get closer in, but if you had to take a guess, Brendan, who wasn't playing tonight? Do you have any idea?
Yeah, it's kind of hard to say on the with the back-to-back. I think normally, probably Callahan would be out because it seems like the MO of the team right now is they want to get Matthew Joseph and Adam Ernie those reps just to have that experience going into the playoffs. And we all know that Ryan Callahan doesn't need to play games. He has plenty of experience in the NHL. Obviously, he wants to be out there and wants to play every game he can. But I still think this is a good situation for the Lightning where you can sit Callahan a little bit, let him rest, let him heal up, let him get ready for the postseason where he's really at his best. And then at the same time, you can get reps for the younger guys like Joseph and Ernie. So I would expect we'll see those guys back in the lineup tonight. I would expect Callahan would again be a healthy scratch along with Danik Martel, and then go from there. But you could see maybe Callahan get back in because it is the back-to-back, and if maybe there's another forward that got dinged up, not that I know of anybody that did, but if there is someone that's dealing with something nagging, you might sit them for this game and put Callahan back in.
All right, Bernsey, what's coming up on TampaBayLightning.com today, buddy? Got any stories?
Just getting ready for another big tilt. It's kind of a Can you hear me?
Brother? Go ahead. Sorry, so you're going in and out a little bit.
Yeah, we're just getting ready for tonight's game. We'll have coverage. Check with Kaylee Chelios for if there's any update on Hedman. I'm sure Cooper usually gives he'll usually talk to the media probably around 5:30. Since tonight's a 7:00 game, so there might be some update there from Hedman and a definitive answer for who's going to be in goal. But I would lead Domingue. And then after the game, you can read my 3 keys and 3 takeaways from what hopefully is another Lightning win.
Sounds good, Bernsey. Have a good time, brother, with the family, and I'll see you on Thursday, brother.
All right, sounds good. We'll be back at Amalie doing it together for the first time, and it seems like about 2 weeks or so.
I know, man. It's been too long. Enjoy the rest of the day. Get some sun, brother.
All right, appreciate it. See you, Jay.
Good stuff there, as always, from our good buddy Brian Burns. Make sure you follow him on Twitter at @BBurnsNHL. You can follow the team at TB Lightning. Go to TampaBayLightning.com for the best news and notes, including stories from Brian Burns. Make sure you follow me on Twitter at @JRecher. You can follow the station at 95.3 WDAE. Go to 95.3 WDAE.com for the best Bolts coverage. I'm going to be hosting a Lightning watch party tonight at Dave & Buster's in Brandon. So make sure you go check that out on my Twitter at @JRecher. Come on out, watch the Lightning game with me. Have you ever been to Dave & Buster's? It is a blast. So come on out. We got a bunch of people from DAE and a bunch of my friends from the Brandon area. Come on out, Dave & Buster's. I'll be there at about 7:30, and come watch the Lightning take on the Philadelphia Flyers. That's going to wrap it up for me today. For Jay Recher and Brian Burns, we'll be back Thursday inside Amalie Arena right here on Bolts Breakdown.